I found these tiles in the garage when we moved. There weren't much left in the garage, but these were some, and they don't match any in the house. And I also have a box of these smaller tiles that I ordered a long time ago. They were fairly cheap as well, and I think they would make great coasters. Not sure I like the colour of those, so working on those is going to really be a pleasure. And I'll also do something on the two white ones so we can make a comparison of what happens when you're using a coloured tile and a white tile. Well, I'm going to do different patterns on each one of them, and I'm going to take inspiration from my sketchbooks and see how that goes. And that's just where I sketch. I've done a video on that before. I'm going to be using these baked glass and ceramic paints, and you bake them afterwards, and you can even put them in the dishwasher as well afterwards. I am going to clean the tiles with 99% alcohol, just in case there's any grease or anything on these tiles that may affect these paints. Now, these ones are the translucent ones. I do believe you can get some opaque ones, and this is in no way sponsored by PBO or however you say their name. The company doesn't even know I exist, I wouldn't have thought. I just love their products. So now all those tiles are clean, what I'm going to do is try and avoid touching them anymore on the face and pick them up by the edges like this. Now I'm going to use a brand new palette here that I've got in case I want to mix any colours up, because these all do mix, and I'm also going to try a very new technique to me with these on one of the tiles. I don't know how it's going to work out. What you must do is stir these first before you use them, and before you bake them you must let them dry for 24 hours. So the first one I'm going to do is with this one, and all I'm going to do is paint on here some loose petals. Like I said, these are transparent colours, so once they dry they will be a little bit transparent. And all I'm doing is painting on here some petals like this, just rough shaped petals. I do want to make sure the whole thing is filled in and there's no like gaps, so it's got a nice solid look or feel to it. And I am putting these on, like I said, quite thick. Now I did do a whole video on how to upcycle glass jars using this, and that came out really popular, and it looks like stained glass. I love it, and I'll link that video at the end of this one for you. So there we go, that's the first bit, and now I have to wait for that to dry before I can put the next colours on, because I want to put the colours over and above what I've got here, so I can't do that unless it's dry. So I'll put that to one side, and it will be touch dry fairly quickly. It's just that the whole thing does need to be fully dry for 24 hours before you actually go ahead and do anything else with it. On this one I'm going to attempt to do a poppy, and I'm going to do the first coat again like that. All I do for a poppy is just do a really kind of fat petal with a little indent at the top here like that, and that'll be the first one. And I'll probably do 4 of those like that. So the next one will come out here like this, come round like that into that middle bit there. Feel that? We're going to have a black centre on this one, so it doesn't matter if we don't go all the way to the middle here. And the next one I can again come off from there like that, come around like that. Fill that in. And as you know, I'm no artist, so if I can do these, anyone can do these. And as someone referred to me the other day as a jack of all trades and master of none, and it's quite true. I love crafting, so I just have a go, and if my videos can just inspire people to have a go at crafting, then I feel I've done something really special with my life, because crafting is such a great way of not curing, but helping you with depression and anxiety and all things like that. Now, I'm not feeling great at the moment, mental health wise, and as a result I thought I would spend the day doing flowers, because for some reason whenever I'm crafting and I work on flowers or work doing flowers, it always makes me feel a little bit better. I'm hoping this will go fairly quickly, but you never know how long depression and anxiety and things are gonna stick around. So there's my poppy, and I'm going to put that to one side. So while they're drying, what I'm going to do is have a go at doing some snowdrops. These ones I am going to put the black outline on first. Now, I've drawn snowdrops lots of times in other videos. They're really easy. All you need to do is do like a bell shape here, and you fill that in with black, like that. It looks like one of the ghosts from Pac-Man, if anyone's old enough to remember what that's like. And then you need to put your petals on, and that's your petals there like that. Now I'm going to just go over those petals a little bit to try and thicken those lines up and to darken them off. There we go. And now I'm also going to put another one here. Again, just draw your little bell like that. Fill it in. And this works with pens and any sorts of paints that you're using. Doesn't need to be these types of paint. So there we go. So there's 2. And I think I'm going to put another one here, because I always think they look better in 3s. So let's not line it up. Let's do it there. There we go. Like that. And I'll just go over that and thicken up those lines. And then once that's dry in about an hour's time, I can then put on my stems and a couple of little leaves in green. So this time I'm going to do a little yellow flower. But again, it's going to have a black centre. And I'm going to try and do this one so it's not face on like the other ones. I'm going to put my little centre in like that. And then this one, I'm not going to make it too solid for the centre. I'm going to kind of let that be a little bit thinner. So hopefully we get some tonal difference in that. I don't know if that's going to work, but we can see. There we go, like that. And then we're going to have some smaller leaves coming off it. They're not leaves, are they? They're petals. And then some longer ones coming off at the top. There we go, so we're finished like that. Now I'm going to let that dry. And the blue one is dry now, touch dry. I won't, like I said, it does need to have 24 hours of drying before you bake them. So now all I'm going to do is do a rough outline around here using my black, like this, going all the way around. I'm not bothered too much if it doesn't touch all the edges or whatever. I just want it to be a rough outline. And any places I think it's too thin, I will just go over it again. Go over that line. So then we've got it finished like that. And now what I'm going to do is put some thinner lines in here, if I can do thinner lines, to give the flower some like veining and texture. There we go, so we've got a bit more texture in that, and that'll show up once it's painted. And now I can go in there with a green, but I need to mix the green because I don't have a green coloured paint. And I always have to look up what makes green, because being colourblind, I just never remember. So it's blue and yellow. So blue and yellow make green. I should have that written down somewhere, really. So I've got some blue, as we know. I'm going to put a little bit of blue in there, in that palette, and some yellow. Oh, that's quite a dark green, isn't it? Do I need it that dark, or should I have it lighter? I think I might make it a little bit lighter. So I'm going to add a little bit more yellow in it and a little bit of white as well, because that's a bit dark. Bit dark, he says. So here's another great thing about these. You can intermix them about and make your own colours. And I'm going to put the stem here. I think what it does, it grounds the actual flower itself, as opposed to it making it look like it's just floating in the air. I don't want it to be floating in the air. And then I'll put a leaf here. There we go. And then I can let that dry. Put a centre in it. And then do an outline of these. Again, similar to what I've done before. I'm not too worried if it's touching a hole of the paint everywhere. I'm also not too worried. I want it to look a little bit more stylised. And now it's time to fill these in. They've dried. And all I'm going to do is drop some of the colour in here that I want this to be. I want this to be a nice bright one. So this is going to be a yellow. And that should fill up, once I drop that colour in there, right up to those edges of that black, because that black is slightly proud of this tile, and that's filling in quite nicely. And once that's dry, the yellow, then I will put some little lines in that as well, some as thin as I can make them, black lines, just to give it a bit of more character. That's filling up quite nicely. I want to say a massive thank you to everyone that got me a coffee last month as well. Every penny that I get from coffees goes into this channel. I don't make any money on this channel at all, but I love this channel. And it goes to things like buying the paints and anything that I need to be able to make videos on this channel. At the moment, I've got lots of projects coming up that I think you'll love as well. So that's that one done. Now I'm going to put a stem in, and I'm going to again do the lighter green stem, and I think I'm going to do the stem coming from here, so from there all the way down to there. Like that. Yeah, quite like that. And then I'm going to do some leaves as well. These ones I'm trying to do more jig-jaggedy leaves. Like that. And I'm going to paint those in and then do them in the same way as I did before, by also running a little bit of the darker green in there to look a bit like veins, just to give it a bit more fun, texture and dimension. Do another leaf here, I think, without trying to get too much of my finger caught in that one. And we'll put a little bit of the dark in. I think we'll run a little bit of dark down this edge here as well, of that stem. So that one's done. Put that to one side to dry. And while we've got the green on this brush, we can then put the stems in for these ones. And these are kind of like sweeping stems. They have them like that, like a walking stick, I would say. And I'm doing quite dark ones on this. I'm using the dark green. Snowdrops have quite long leaves, I believe. So they have long leaves like this. Yeah, like that, more like that. And then I can put just a little bit of that dark in there as well, into each one of those leaves, like I did before. Just a tiny bit. Break that up. Neat and tidy them up. There we go, like that. And now I can add the white in the same way as I added the yellow by just dropping it in here. And then once it's dry, I can put a little few black lines in it as well. So now I'm going to try something that I have no idea if it's going to work or not. And that is a dirty pour using these colours. I don't know if they're going to mix up a little bit. I've got a little shot glass here. And so that is what I'm going to use to do my dirty pour in. It is quite thick, so I have no idea if it's going to work, and I have no idea how these colours are going to mix together. They might just turn into mud, or they might not. Probably I'm using the wrong colours together anyway for a dirty pour. I think we should have a little bit of black in it as well. Just a tiny bit. I don't want too much. I want more yellow and orange and red than anything. So what I'm going to do is pour some more white on there, or some orange, or yellow, and some red. Now, I've got my tile on a yogurt pot, but what I'm going to do is turn it over like that. So it's on there. Move that about like that, and let that do its thing. I am going to add a bit of heat to it. And now I'm going to manoeuvre that about as well. Oh, there are one or two little cells popping up, which is something I wasn't expecting. What this is going to look like at the end, who knows. I don't think the blue came out. I'm going to pour that in around the edges, just to see what happens. I don't think I left it on long enough to run out. I'll do it a little bit longer next time for the next one. But it's definitely selling up. Look at that. Wow, that is so pretty. Stretch those cells out a little bit, I think. Well, that wasn't what I was expecting for sure. I wasn't expecting any of those cells to come up. Let's blast that with a bit more heat and see what happens. Be careful I don't dry it. Stretch them out a little bit more. Right, and now I'm going to leave that to dry, and we'll see if any more cells come up. Now, next one I'm going to do slightly differently. I'm going to do the pour in the same way into the shot glass. Not in the same colours. Well, the same. I'm going to be using the same colours, but obviously not in the same order. So I'm going to put a little bit of blue, a little bit of white. Put my black in next, I think. A little bit of black, a bit of yellow, a bit of red, a bit more white. A bit more yellow, and a bit more red. I think that should be enough for me. Get me a little cup, let me a little yogurt pot. Now what I'm going to do is pour this over and see what happens, like this. Okay, and now I'm going to stretch that out a little bit. God, look at that, it looks like flames. Oh, I really like that rather than the blue on there. I might try and pour that blue off, actually. Maybe leave a little bit of it on the top. There we go, I love that. I think that's really, really pretty. And now for this last one, what I'm going to try is I'm going to get all my paint out of these little pots and put down on my mat, on my silicone mat, like this. I've got quite a bit that's already come off there anyway. I don't want to blend it too much. There we are. And now all I'm going to do is place my tile over the top of that and take it off. Look at that! I want a bit more of that colour on this end here. So I'm going to put that there. And a bit more there, I think, as well. Oh, I think that's come out really, really pretty. So what we'll do is we'll leave those to dry. And then I'll show you what they all look like dry and how to bake them. Well, these now I'll leave to dry for 24 hours and then I'll bake them in a normal oven, and it's absolutely fine to do that. It says that in the directions, and then you'll see how they come out. I am absolutely loving these ones. I love these too, but I'm really loving this technique. Well, these are ready to bake now. They've been drying for 24 hours. So I'm going to stick them in the oven. Now, you stick them in at 160 degrees centigrade for 40 minutes. And then you take them out and let them cool. So once they're baked, I'll show you how I'm then going to finish them off to be able to use them for coasters. I think, without a doubt, that is my favourite one. I think it looks like fire. These have all cooled down now, and I can touch them all, and this should all be lovely and permanent. Like I said, it does say you can put it into the dishwasher. Now, I'm going to put some felt on the back of these because I don't want them to scratch areas. I could put a whole square of felt on the back, but I think that would be a bit of a waste because that's a lot of felt. And they are tiles after all, but I do want something on the back. The other thing is, by putting a full square on, if someone spills a drink and it runs underneath the tile, it's going to soak into that felt. So what I'm going to do is take my hole punch, and you can buy these fairly cheap anyway, or you can buy the actual holes, the pre-pushed through holes, and I'm going to cut myself out some holes like that. So that's one way of doing it, and you can then glue those to the base there, 4 on each tile. Alternatively, you can get these ones that are pre-cut out, little feet, and they're glued back. So they've got glue on the back of them already, and you can stick those on. Now, these are the ones that I'm going to go for because they're slightly more raised. As well as that, they're a bit thicker, so like that. So all I'm going to do is put my feet on like that, and they'll stay on there really nicely. And then if a drink does get spilled or on a wet table because you're using them outside, the plastic isn't going to absorb any of that water. I think these have come out really, really well. Very, very pleased with them. I absolutely love, as I've said, the pour ones. I'm so surprised how well that they've come out. And these are easy projects. You could do this with your kids, or you could do it, and I think they would make great gifts for someone. Love these glass paints. Brilliant. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this video. Boot that like button, hit that subscribe button. Check out the video I did earlier on turning empty glass jars into some awesome stained glass pots. It looks amazing. Take care. Enjoy your crafting. Bye.